Hi, I'm Anna at the Sewing Studio, and in this video I am going to talk you through the Janome DKS100 Special Edition sewing machine. I'm going to show you all its features and functions, talk you through what comes in the box, show you its capabilities, get it threaded, and then talk a bit about the warranty and the support that you get here with us at the Sewing Studio. So we split all of those into chapters, so if there's one section you're particularly interested in, feel free to head on to that part. So the Janome DKS100 Special Edition is a computerised machine, and it's standard size, so it's got 6 inches of space to the right of the needle. It's got 100 different stitch options. Your most commonly used ones are just a very easy press on these tiles on the front, and then all the rest are on this stitch card that stands on the machine for your reference, and you just very simply type in the number that you need. You've got 6 different one-step buttonhole options. There's 4 there, again the most common ones, and then a couple more in the extended numbers. You can also change the length and the width of your stitch, and you have an elongation button. So yes, the satin stitches on the machine, you can change the width and the length, but you can end up distorting them in terms of their density and the shape that they have. So with the elongation button, you can increase them to 5 times their original size, and you don't lose any of that density or shape. It's got a twin needle feature, and that is a safety feature. And on your stitch chart that you get, everything that is greyed out, it will just stop you from choosing that when you've got a twin needle on, because it goes too wide and you'll end up hitting the needle plate and break a needle, which is not what we want to do. Now, it's a computerised machine, so you have the choice whether you want to operate it with the foot pedal or the start-stop button. But you can also control your speed down from slow, medium to high, and top speed on this machine is 820 stitches per minute. You've got your reverse, your locking stitch, needle up, needle down, and your automatic scissor cut. You also have a manual cutter on the side here. Now the presser foot has an extra high lift that you can get any bulky items in underneath. And you also have the ability to adjust the pressure on the presser foot. And this machine also comes with a knee lift, which just slots into the front there to raise and lower the presser foot with your knee. It has Janome's superior 7-piece feed drive system, and that means that it really does hold on to the fabric to feed, so it's nice and controlled and consistent. You can also drop those feed dogs to do any kind of free motion work. It's got a built-in needle threader and a top loading bobbin, so it simply drops in, and it has the easy set, so you can lay the thread in around there. No need to drop your bobbin thread. Obviously you can if you want to. It also has a free arm, so you pop off the accessory tray, and then you've got your arm there for sewing cuffs and hems and things, and then there's a nice bit of storage in the box for all the accessories that comes with the machine. Now they comprise of the standard presser foot that will already be on the machine, a zipper or piping foot, a clear stitch foot, one for blind hems and for overcasting, and then you've also got your one-step buttonhole foot along with a stabilising plate for that foot, plus a range of accessories, and you have an instruction book, an instructional DVD, foot pedal, power lead and the knee lift. It also comes with a hard cover, and that just slots over the top. Now this machine weighs just under 7 kilos, so it's nice and transportable, and this helps to protect it when you're taking it around, also when you're storing it away, and to keep the dust off. So let's show you how to thread it and do some sewing and show you its capabilities. So threading is really simple, as everything is numbered for you. So you just pop your cotton on the spool pin, and then one of these caps on the end, and you get a couple of different sizes depending on the size of spool. So there's one that's bigger for if you're using like an 800 metre reel or something like that. Now it's always best to thread with a bit of tension, so I hold the thread at the top here, and then I'm just following the numbers. So number 1, 2, 3 is down and around, 4 in the take-up lever, and then 5 down to the top of the needle. Now when it comes to the needle threader, it's very important that the needle's in the right position, because these devices come down to the exact point every time, so that the little hook that draws the thread through the eye of the needle lines up exactly with the eye of the needle. So this button here drops the needle down and back up again. I let go of that thread then, just pop that back in there. So when you go back up, you know the needle is in the right position. So you just want to bring the needle threader down, lay the thread in and under, push it back up, and it draws the loop in behind for you to pull the thread through the eye of the needle. And I'm just going to cut that excess off on the manual cutter on the side there. So for your bobbin, as I say, it's a top loading bobbin, so you just want to push that to the right and the bobbin cover pops up. And then you want your tail of thread to the left. It's very important. If you do it the opposite way around, you will find you'll get tension issues. So just drop that in. Again, thread it under some tension, so keep your finger on the top to stop it spinning. And you're just coming under this lip and then around in the easy set, and there's a little cutter there. You can just trim that bit off and then pop the cover back on. And as I say, there's no need to draw up the bobbin thread at this point now. The way that this lays it in, it'll automatically pick it up, but you can still draw it up if you want to. So when you switch the machine on, it'll always default to the standard straight stitch. Now, I'm not using the foot pedal, I'm going to use the start-stop button, and I'll show you the different speeds that you can use. So I'm just going to drop that in. So we're on the slow speed first, so I'm just going to press start. And then to reverse and secure those stitches, you just keep your finger on it for as far back as you want to go, and then it will come forward again. So that's the slow speed, which is really quite slow and manageable. Increase up to midway, and then on to top speed. When you're coming to the end, you can just keep your finger on the start-stop button and you can see it slows right down, so it's very manageable for when you want to finish the end of your seam. And you just let go of the button and it will stop. And then to secure them, again, just go back as far as you want to go. You can leave it there or come forward a bit more if you want to. So I've finished sewing and I want to trim my threads, so I'm going to press the scissor button. And it lifts the needle and a little cutter shoots out underneath from the side and trims the thread, so we can just take our work out. And then that's your nice neat straight stitch. That's on the top, and then that's the underneath. Now there is an alternative way to secure your stitching for if you're doing any top stitching or anything decorative. Sometimes you don't want to see the bulk of reverse, so you can use this button, which is a locking stitch. And what it does is it sews 3 stitches on the spot to secure them. So you press that first and then press the start-stop button, or put your foot on the foot pedal if you're using the foot pedal. And you can see the fabric's not moving, and that is 3 stitches to secure it. And you can carry on. When you come to the end, just press the locking stitch to stop. It sews to 3 stitches, and that's your seams finished and secure. And you can see how that leaves it much neater at the end than the bulk of doing a reverse. Now this button also has a second function, which is a pattern end. So I'm just going to lift up the stitch chart. And this is most useful when sewing out one of the decorative stitches here. So for instance, let's sew out a row of stars. So you'll see here that the direct dial stitches just go up to number 10. And this is number 86. So we're just simply going to type in 8 and 6 for 86. And the machine is now set to sew out the stars. So I'm going to pop that under. Now, as I say, this is a pattern end. So when you're finishing the end of your seam, you can press this button to stop and it will finish the complete pattern. So in this instance, it will finish a complete star before it stops sewing. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Now you could see this time when I pressed that button, it didn't stop sewing instantly. It finished the pattern before it stopped. And as you can see, you've then got a row of complete stars. And it's really quite useful to save you, guessing, and when you get to the end of the seam, kind of cutting it off there. Just gives a nice professional finish. So when it comes to changing the length and the width of a stitch, it's simply done with these here. So this is your width and this is your length. So if we go to a zigzag stitch, which you can see is on one of the direct dials, so I can just press number 7. And you can see it tells you here you're on stitch number 7, but it also puts a light here for you so you know which one you're on. Now that's defaulted to a standard width of 3mm and a length of 1.5mm. So we'll stitch a few of those out just to show the difference. Okay, so you might be doing something like a plique or edging the top of a pocket or something like that, where you might want a very narrow stitch length on your zigzag. So if we take that down maybe to 0.4, or you might be wanting to do something on the other end of the spectrum, so have the stitch very, very wide and a bit longer. Let's go for it. And you can see the different stitch options that you can get within the zigzag just by changing the width and the length. Now obviously you can change the length of your straight stitch and a lot of the other stitches as well as the widths. So let's take a look at the buttonhole. So this is our one-step buttonhole foot, and what you do is just push that back and pop your button in, and then that determines the size of the buttonhole that you need, and it'll always be a couple of millimeters bigger so that you can fit the button through. Now these feet just snap on, so to release you just push the lever on the back, take that one off, and then I'm going to use the higher presser foot lift to just line it up with the pin. I'm just going to move that thread out of the way a minute, hang on, get that a bit longer. There it goes. Pop that in under and it just snaps on, give it a little wiggle and it just snaps on. Now what you want to do, or I tend to do, is just get this thread down in underneath, as it gives a nicer result when you start sewing the buttonhole. So you can do that by just sewing one stitch, take it up and then pull the work through, and there's your thread underneath. So I've got cotton here, so I'm just going to choose the standard buttonhole, and you can see it's telling me here to use foot R, which is the one-step buttonhole foot which I've got there. And then this symbol here is for a sensor. This is located behind the needle threader and it just comes down into position, and you want to make sure you pull it down as far as it will possibly go. And that then tells the machine when to finish doing the left side of the buttonhole, do the bar tacks at the back and then come forward to get it done in one step. So hopefully you'll see what I mean now. Oh, let's go a bit faster. And that'll beep to tell you it's finished. And you can cut the threads and take it out. And there's your nice neat buttonhole. That's the top and that's underneath. And you can carry on then and do as many buttonholes as you need for whatever it is that you're making. So let's take this off and then we'll have a look at some different types of fabric. So we'll go for some jersey first. So I'm going to pop a jersey ballpoint needle in. And these are just standard needles with the flat back. So just pop that in and then bring the needle threader down to thread the eye of the needle. Bring that through. There it goes. And then I'm going to pop the standard foot back on. Okay. So I've got my stretched jersey fabric here. And I know, having sewn with this before, the best stitch for this fabric is the triple straight stitch with a slightly longer stitch length because it's got quite a lot of stretch in it. Now when I'm doing these sample pieces, I don't tend to pin. If that had been pinned, that would have stopped, obviously, the fabric on the top kind of moving forward with me. And there you can see that's sitting really nice. There's lots of stretch with the stitch. And the seam is lovely and secure and stretchy. So let's have a look on the thicker side of fabrics now. So I've got some denim, so I'm going to pop the jeans needle on. Again, flat to the back, pop that in, thread it down, in, and underneath. So for this one I'm going to go back to the standard straight stitch, but this time I'm going to increase the stitch length because this is a lot thicker than what we've been working with. And then the stitch will sit on the top of the fabric. You know, sometimes it gets like a dip in the fabric and you can see that it's too tight. Most of the time people want to change the tension, but actually by just increasing the stitch length, it can avoid that altogether. So I'll pop that in. And that went through that, no problem at all. It's a nice neat stitch, nothing skipped. That's the top. Underneath, and again, the seam is secure. So I'm going to double that over. So we'll go through 4 layers now. I'm not going to change anything else on the machine for this one. Pop that in. Again, no problem at all, no skip stitches on the top or underneath, and the seam is still secure. So let's double it over once more. I'm just going to cut that tail of thread off. Whoops. Lovely. So I'm going to double that over again. Now this time, because we're going through 8 layers now, I'm going to increase the stitch length again, just slightly. And to help it feed under the foot, I'm going to slacken off the pressure that is applied to that presser foot. So on this dial up here, I'm just going to go back a couple. That should be more than enough. And it's just so that it doesn't get stuck or anything jams up. And it gives you a nice finished result as well. And there you go. That's 8 layers there with no problem at all. That's the underneath, and again, the seam is still really secure. So I hope that gives you a good insight to the capabilities of the Janome DKS100 Special Edition and helps you decide whether it's the right machine for your needs. It comes with a 2-year warranty, and you can extend that to 5 years, and there's a card in the box that explains all that to you. And don't forget, we're here at the Sewing Studio. If you need any advice, just get in touch. We're sewers ourselves and pride ourselves on knowing our machines inside and out. So just pick up the phone, pop on live chat, or send us an email. We're more than happy to help.